All right, thanks for joining today's Matchday Much 2 media availability with Nashville head coach BJ Callaghan out of the club's match Saturday at Georges Park against Houston Dynamo. First time the team's been met since 2022. Coach, just start by talking about how training has gone this week and what you expect to see from a Houston team the club doesn't face very often.
Yeah, I think the training, getting back in right after the Orlando game was great for us. We're able to kind of just reset and refocus here on a home game versus Houston. Georges, we're excited to be back home. We know what the crowd brings to us. We know our form has been at home, so been training well with the expectation of putting in a good performance. We're welcoming a Houston team that I think is first and foremost really well coached. Ben's been around for a while. He's won things in this league. The team is, I think, really balanced with their attacking talent and their defensive organization. So expect a really good battle of two teams that are respectively kind of competing here for the playoffs.
Thanks, Coach. Start with Jacob today.
Yeah, BJ, obviously, you have the U.S. Open Cup final against at Austin on Wednesday. How do you make sure that your focus is where it should be heading into Houston on Saturday?
Yeah, simple. We're just focused on Houston. That's all we talk about. They're going to pose challenges to us. We stick to the process on how we prepare, and then after the Houston game, we'll reset our focus onto the next game.
And what do you think are maybe some of the specific strengths and weaknesses maybe of Houston, and I guess where you feel maybe you can take advantage of that matchup and maybe they might pose a threat to you as well?
Yeah, I think you see with Houston, they've got a dynamic attacking group. They've got a playmaker in like Jack McGlynn, a young player who's been almost had a breakout season under Ben and the guys at Houston. So I think you're going to have a dangerous attacking group. And then it's credit to them as well because the same attacking group does a great job defending from the front, organized back line. And so it's also a difficult team to break down. So I think it'll take our best, but the group I think is prepared.
BJ, you've had midweek games throughout the season, but is there something different about coming up to a cup final in midweek than just having another MLS game or maybe a earlier round in terms of rotation, in terms of how you prepare the squad?
No, I think we stay focused on Houston. That's the next game in hand, and then we're gonna, we'll look to the Open Cup when that time comes, and take inventory where we're at. But for us, everything is focused here on a good performance versus Houston at home.
And then you mentioned Ben Olsen. He won the Open Cup a couple of years ago in very dramatic fashion. I'm sure you remember. And then he also plays Austin more than you guys do. Think you're gonna ask him any questions after the match?
Ben and I go back before his job at Houston and my job here at Nashville. We've had dialogue in season, off season, and I'm sure it'd be a fool of me to not always try to seek experience from more experienced coaches than myself. So if he's open, I'm certainly all ears.
Bob?
Is it a little harder to prepare for a team you haven't seen in a few years versus one you played every so often?
I think we pretty much try to stay process on how we want to prepare, but yeah, I think there's always, when you have a familiarity of playing teams in the Eastern Conference, I think your focus is there more. But the way we prepare is always the same. And so, I think the group feels that rhythm and sort of that consistency, and that hopefully leads us into having a good performance.
I know.
BJ, losing to Orlando last minute probably hurts. Which kind of lessons do you learn, the team learn, losing like that? And because we are right now at the end of this season. Yeah,
I think in the moment, yeah, of course there's frustration, there's hurt, there's a wide range of emotions, but at the same time, it makes your team stronger, right? Like through periods of little bits of adversity in the game, like it actually strengthens your group, brings your group together. And that's what we sort of build on here to the next game, and you quickly sort of, move on. The lessons are that we have to be better at closing out the game. And, those are things that we talk about, we work on, we have strategies for, and constantly just look to get better at doing it, but at the same time, understanding that each experience that we have, it actually makes the team more resilient and even stronger.
We'll go to Ben on Zoom.
Yeah, hey BJ. I think after the Orlando game, you mentioned just looking at the table how you weren't necessarily concerned with totally the final spot you guys ended up in the table, just with how tight things are in the Eastern Conference. I'm curious, just looking at these next 3 MLS games, how important is it to win, obviously for table position, but just kind of to get back into like the habit of winning games heading into the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, we play to win every single game. So for us, that's always the objective, and we stay focused on how we want to do that. And so for us, the next opportunity here is Houston on Saturday night. We know it's a home game. We know we'll have the crowd behind us, which is always helpful and supportive, with the intention of trying to earn 3 points.
And then just wanted to ask about a few of the guys. Obviously, Walker has missed the last 2 games. Johnny and Ahmed looked like they were both picked up injuries, and then Jason came off against Orlando. What's kind of the status on those 4?
Jason Walker, both fully available for selection. Johnny is out, and I don't have a full update on Ahmed. It's a little bit day to day right now.
We'll go to Claudio on Zoom.
CJ, this Houston team is pretty much basis. Well, I know you know this better than I do. A lot of possession. They try to possess the ball a lot. And how are you going to manage, especially at home, to try to minimize that in terms of what using your high pressure?
Yeah, you're right. They do a great job with the ball, right? They have a lot of good rotations. Have really clear ways on the way that they want to advance it and try to get the ball into the goal scoring positions. For us, it's always remaining the same. Stay compact, build pressure when it's right, and sort of impose ourselves. That's what we like to do, and just stay true to ourselves.
Now, BJ, there is no question about the loss. The last loss was a tough one for the team. Pretty much had at one point at least to come back home. How has the team come back from that particular difficult moment at the end of the match and be ready for this one?
Yeah, I mean the group's response has been really good. Again, I think these moments that you have in these games bring groups together. They strengthen the bonds of each other. That's what's made this group so special all year, is their one ability to respond, but also how they do it, which is always together, working through things and then coming back with another good performance. So for us, we think it's only been an opportunity to get better this week, but also not only get better on the field, but even strengthen sort of the relationships that everybody has to make us what we are special, which is a complete team.